Course Agency meeting of April 3rd to order. Can I have roll call, please?
Joe Marie Nelson,
Here.
Jill Krevich,
Here.
Brian Peruta, John F. Ungary, Joseph Lionel Albert, Roby Staples, here, Donna Corbin,
Here.
Joseph Perello, Jr.
Before we begin, I need to read the fire evacuation announcement. In case of fire, there are two ways to exit the chambers. To my left, exit through the council chamber doors, turn left and walk down one flight of stairs and out the building, or exit the doors to the rear of these chambers. In either case, once outside the building, walk a safe distance away from the building. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'd like to welcome Donna Corbin-Sabinski to the agency. It's her first meeting this evening. Welcome aboard. Glad you're here.
Thank you very
We
much.
needed you very much tonight.
Welcome. Thank you.
Executive session, we don't have anything, Jim, do we? Okay. Next item on the meeting is public participation. Issues of concern not on the agenda. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address the agency? Okay. Public hearings, none scheduled for tonight. Okay, correspondence. What do we have, Jim?
In your packages, you'll find correspondence from the ZBA regarding the mobile station located at 76 Hazard Avenue. They're having some remediation done there. It's been ongoing for several years, and the ZBA had asked for yearly updates, and so when they received their last update, they asked me to share it with you so that you would have the information. So that's what you have here. It's a report from their environmental consultant.
Okay. Is there anything in here that we need to be concerned with that you know of?
No,
Okay.
there's no outstanding issues. No.
Okay. Anything else, Jim?
Yes, yeah, well, no, for correspondence, no.
Nothing? Okay.
We're good with that.
Okay. Commissioners' correspondence. We'll start down with Roby. Do you have anything? No? Donna? Not yet?
Not yet.
You will. Jill?
Nothing from me.
Okay. I've got a couple of items. First, Donna's going to need a badge so that she can get onto properties. I know normally Jose coordinates it with the police department, so if you could put that on your list to have Jose get in touch with Donna or yourself for a time, date, so you can go down there, get your picture taken.
Okay.
Become official. Secondly, my second item was the Butler letter. Did that go out? But I saw tonight in our packets that that did, and I saw his response as well, so we can talk about that later. Third was, I wanted to remind everybody tomorrow night, excuse me, in council chambers here tomorrow night, Attorney Chris Smith will be addressing all the land use boards as far as FOI, ethics, on and on and on. Did everybody receive Jose's information, email on that? No? No?
I did.
You did? Okay. I will, Jim, can you send that out to Donna and Roby? Or do you have a copy?
I have a copy, I have one copy.
That's okay. All right, so if they can look at that tonight, it's really important, I think, if anybody hasn't been to these, there's just a ton of information that I didn't know. I went about 4 years ago. It was great. It's a good refresher. You know, when to recuse yourself, all sorts of things. So that's tomorrow night here at 7. And then last week, I went to the Council of Chairs meeting, which again, anybody is welcome to attend. And you just, Ray Warren was there, Scott Copen, there was a few others from the town staff, Jose as well. And basically, they went over the transit system. I got a letter from the Development Services Department budget. So if anybody is interested in any of this, I have it here for you to take a look at. But they kind of just give you an overview of what's going on in the town. And it's kind of one-on-one with town staff. So I think it's a great thing to attend. I think they're quarterly, so. That's all I have for now. So next item on the agenda would be approval of the March 20th meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 20th minutes.
Okay. Motion made by Jill. Do I have a second? Second by Roby. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor? 3? 4,
Yeah.
okay.
Just for the record, I was here in attendance watching.
Okay,
So I-
perfect. So you can vote,
So I can
perfect.
vote on it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, Wetlands Agent Report.
Okay, as you had mentioned earlier, in your packet, you'll find the letter. Well, last meeting, we discussed sending out a letter to Mr. Butler at 8 Sharp Street regarding his ongoing violation. You approved that letter. I sent it out the following day. And what you'll find in your package is his response, which I got on Friday, March 30th. So he outlined a tentative schedule, and I did speak with him directly, and he seemed very on board. And I did remind him that the June 1st deadline was a firm deadline, and that it wasn't going to be, that we wanted to see everything done by June 1st. And he felt that was, unless there was some kind of major weather problem, that he had no problem doing that. So I will keep everyone informed as we progress.
Perfect. Okay. I was happy to see that in here.
Okay.
Anything else, Jim?
Also, you'll find correspondence from DEEP regarding changes to the General Assembly, the Inland Wetlands Act. There's a couple of changes regarding approval times, and I think it was discussed back in September. I think Jose had discussed it with you, but never included the actual documents. So you'll have that in your package, and what we can do is work on applying these to our regulations, these couple changes that have been made.
So this was the 9-year,
Yes, everything's 9 years now, and there's some, if it was approved before a certain day, it's still 5 years, but after a certain day, there's a little kind of grace period there. But I don't think we have any outstanding issues with that. I think everything seems to be.
I believe Jose was going to contact those that this would have applied to,
Okay.
or when they came in, tell them about it. So, all right, so this is good to have. We should keep this. Important. And then I also saw that you put in our packets the most updated, what do we call this? Agency inspection assignments.
Yes.
So maybe later on, under other business, we can take a look at it and talk about it a little bit further. So hang on to that.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Bond release, we have nothing tonight on the agenda. So item 12, old business, inland wetlands 550, Hazardville Water Company, drainage swale relocation and associated cuts and fills. Work required by DPH, consent order number 11-049-008, proposed activity within a watercourse and regulated area at 7A Kimberly Drive, map 86, lot 99, submitted 1/27/12, received 2/7/12, PPE 2/21/12, and MAD is 4/13/12. For the listening public, MAD is mandatory action date, so tonight we would need to either act on this, or if the applicant requires an extension, those would be our options. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm John Cordaro with Tater and Howard, representing the Hazard Water Company.
Excuse me, John. I'm going to interrupt you and turn his microphone off.
Oh, okay, sure. Is it? Do you want me, okay. No, I'll just get closer to this. Okay. First of all, is this close enough, or do you want me?
I think we're okay. Between what we have and up there, we'll figure it out.
Okay, since the last meeting, we, submitted a revised.
Can you hold for
plan.
just a moment?
Sure.
I think you're being picked up.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
All right, now we're legit.
Is it on?
I believe so. He'll let us know if you're not, so.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's on.
Okay.
Since the last meeting, we revised the drawings and submitted them last week. But hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at them. In the revised set of drawings, what I decided to do was I provided you with a drawing, this drawing, which is the existing conditions that doesn't show anything of what we're proposing, and shows the existing drainage that comes from Nealon's Road over here, runs down and has, over the years, created this channel that ends up in Buckhorn Brook. And this channel is less than 50 feet from the well. So as we discussed previously, the purpose of this project, that the water company has received a consent order from Connecticut DPH requiring them to relocate this, what they're calling an intermittent stream, I believe, to be outside the 50-foot radius of the well. Otherwise, the well could be considered groundwater under the influence of surface water, which requires a whole set of different circumstances and treatment. So the goal is to get this channel outside the 50-foot radius of the well. We have our proposed revised channel, and what we've done is this circle here represents the 50-foot radius of the well. And we're showing, we're excavating a new channel through the property over here outside the radius, which is going to be lined with riprap, and the banks will be sloped 2-to-1 slope, and the old channel will be filled to elevation 70 over here. We've added, since the previous submittal, we added a stabilized construction entrance here. We've added the note that this driveway will be reconstructed upon completion of construction. And we've made some slight modifications to the contours. And previously we were filling to 68 or 69. We changed it to 70 to fill a little bit more, and fill the existing channel a little more. We're trying not to disturb, there's a little hill here. We're trying to leave that and disturb the existing conditions as little as possible. Again, the goal here is to meet the requirements of the consent order, which is to get this channel that periodically has water when there's a rainstorm outside the 50-foot radius of the well. The other item that was discussed at the previous meeting was discussions with the town about additional work down to Buckhorn Brook, and there has been correspondence between the water company and the town, and the town has declined to contribute funds to this project. So we're maintaining our previous design, which is to do the work that's required to get the channel out of the 50-foot radius of the well and meet the requirements of the DPH administrative consent order.
Is that all you have at the moment?
Are there any questions?
Well, we're going to go to Jim, and then we'll do some,
Okay.
he'll kind of give us an overview of his thoughts.
Okay. Yes, I'm in receipt of your revised plans. The concerns that I still have from a review status is you chose not to extend the channel based on financial reasons only. Do you feel there's any engineering need to do that?
Engineering? No. The purpose of this project, as I stated, is to meet the requirements of the administrative consent order from Connecticut DPH, which is to get the channel outside the 50-foot radius.
Okay.
And that's what we're doing.
And is your professional opinion that these plans represent a good engineering solution to that problem?
Yes.
And that it will be a stable project, it will not cause any erosion or any kind of problems in the future? Is this what you're...
No.
You don't say that?
When you say erosion, I mean, there's erosion now.
Okay.
So the section of channel that we're rebuilding is going to be riprap, so there won't be erosion there,
Okay.
so that the channel won't erode the bank and encroach the 50-foot radius again in the future.
Okay. But from where you end off your work to Buckhorn Brook, do you think that there could be some impact in that area as a result of your...
Nothing different than what's existing.
nothing different than what is existing. So is it existing, is it eroding now? Is there a chance for sediment or erosion in that area?
Now, currently, I would say, that's why the channel is there, yes.
Okay,
That's how it got there.
okay. Okay. Do you have any calculations for your rock sizing or for your flow calculations for this channel design?
We have we provided specifications. There's a specification section called earthwork that has a spec for the riprap in it, which indicates it's Connecticut DOT maximum stone size 30 inches, and there's a minimum in there. I don't remember exactly what it said.
Just
Okay.
15 inches?
You, the 15 inches is the minimum.
Right, I believe it was 15.
And that is the largest size riprap that they have as a standard. Your detail shows a 6-inch layer of that riprap. So could you explain to the agency how you get a 6-inch layer of rock that's a minimum of 15 and a maximum of 30?
That would be an error on our detail that needs to be revised. So it would be, the depth of the riprap would be the minimum size of the stone on top of the bedding material.
Okay. Okay. My professional opinion is I don't believe that the termination, you've chosen not to extend this all the way to Buckhorn Brook, and I can accept that, but your termination of the channel, the detail you show is just a abrupt termination, no kind of cutoff trench or anything. Historically, I've seen ends of riprap channels entrenched so that they don't have a head cut probability. You know, if the channel does erode, it stops at the trenched-in terminal. We call it a terminal cutoff. Any thoughts on that? Would you consider putting a terminal cutoff on here?
Did I consider that? No, we did not consider that.
Can you see the value in that?
Well, I'm not sure what we're trying to do. This part of the channel is all riprap, so that there shouldn't be any erosion in that part of the channel.
Right, but the part that you're not going to work on, if it does continue to erode, it may jeopardize your work by undercutting it. Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility, yes.
Okay. I have no further comments.
Okay, I'm going to go down the line. Agency members have any questions? Roby?
You're going to move that over, what, maybe 20 feet? That line? Yeah,
This distance?
yeah,
Yes.
probably 20 feet. And then, does it cost that much to go from there to the park? It's only riprap, right? Where's it going now?
Put your mic on, Roby.
Where's it going now? It's like,
Well, the intent of the project is to meet the
the
requirements. of
50-foot requirement, I understand that.
And that's what we're doing.
So you don't want to contribute.
That's up to the water
Yeah.
company. That's not.
I'm sure if the
mine.
town does it, you don't either, why would you?
I'm sorry?
I'm sure if you don't, and the town doesn't,
I mean, I certainly don't want to, personally don't want to contribute, but.
no.
And I think the answer to that question is that this is private property. The town has made if there is money available to do erosion control in these kind of channels and do projects like this, they're not going to do it on private property first. There's plenty of town property that has similar erosion problems that they could address. So It's not that they don't want to, it's just that the money isn't there, and if there was other projects that would take priority over this. So,
I guess I'm
Actually-
kind of confused. Why would the town, if it's not the town's property, why would they
Well, this issue is created by a drainage system that is
Coming in.
installed off the site
coming in?
that dumps water onto private property, and it's not just the water company's property, it's all the neighbors along Kimberly Drive who get drainage that was in, from drainage pipes that were installed under Newlands Road by the developer, I guess, and this problem has existed, and we have correspondence that dates back into the 90s, that this has been an issue, a long-standing issue, and there was actually a report done by the state, was it the state conservation agent at the time?
I believe
I
so.
believe so. Suggesting riprapping and a pool be done by the town to resolve this issue, and it was never done.
Okay.
So this is a issue that was created because drainage structures were installed and allowed to discharge on a rainstorm onto private property through no fault of the owners of the private property.
Can I make a short introduction? My name is Robert Sherwood. I'm with the Hasbro Water Company. I'm the manager. This issue has been ongoing for a number of years. The only reason that it really came to light in 2010 was the fact that one of these, in this drainage area, one of the pools actually had some water still standing in it from all the recent rains that we had had. And when DPH did their inspection, they just happened to, they looked over and the standing water, bingo, that was it. It's standing water, something has to be done with it. In the years that they had been here, 3 years prior to that, it was probably dry. So they didn't really see anything or recognize a hazard. They are aware that the brook exists right behind it, but it is within, it's out of the 50-foot radius. Because this is seasonal, or just storm-related, excuse me, they, maybe they don't feel that it's that big of an issue to try and move it to 50 feet away from the well. Not really thinking, they, as far as inland wetlands go, they might not be that, concerned as what needs to be done to get that done, but they requested and we entered into a consent order to get this resolved, to keep it 50 feet away if we can, to avoid going into additional additional water quality issues that we'd have at the well, and or the possibility of shutting the well down altogether. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. As John stated, the initial correspondence goes back to the 90s. The most recent one to the town assistant manager in 2002 was exactly as John stated, riprap, actually a settling pool at the head of this storm stream so that it would catch debris from the road, sand, salt, everything else, and then riprap from that point to the brook that would allow everything to drain into that slowly. And even in 2002, that was never undertaken by the, it wasn't initially in 2002 addressed to the water company, it was addressed to the town. And we were only involved because it was a matter of, along with the property owners that also abut this, we happen to be one of the property owners that was involved in this questioning. So.
I don't see how we can make him do it if the town doesn't want to chip in a little bit, you know what I mean? That's not
My concern is, yeah. I have that concern too. I mean, I feel really bad for the Hazardville Water Company, but the problem is that you have this order from the state to do it. And the problem, I think you made some changes that I really like because of the grades. So I see that's done there. But if you just stop at that point like that and don't have what you were calling the
Terminal.
Terminal cutoff.
if you're having it draining off, fairly without any problem, no erosion, and then you come to the point where there's no terminal, what's to say that you're not going to have to even spend money down the road because you create a pond at the end of the drainage swale? You may not always have it there, but if we did have several, rainy seasons or, weather is ever changing, what's not to say that you're going to create another issue for yourself at the end of your drainage swale. I know at this point, I don't think the town is,
How far away would that be, Jim?
Well, that's just talking, we
No,
can,
how far away, if she's saying it would create a pond, how far away from the wellhead would that be?
oh, it would be more than 50 feet from the
Yeah.
well,
And,
because
you know,
everything's more than 50 feet.
I mean, it
from
would
the
be
well.
almost at
This
the
is-
edge.
I just
been-
worry about that drop off. You just stop at that point. Then it's going to have almost. I know that there's not necessarily a barrier there, but if you go from one type of material to all of a sudden stopping it, you could have a standing pond that they go and look at that point, because there's that point where there's no terminal there to take care of the excess water at the end of the point of the drainage.
What's a
Jim,
terminal
can you,
in?
yeah, Jim, I was going to say, can somebody clarify
Yeah,
what
I-
that is for us?
I think that any of my concerns are not based on the need for this. I think you're well explained the need for this, and it is needed. You need to solve this. You need to come in compliance with public health. What I'm concerned about is how you're doing it, and that what you presented here on these plans, in my opinion, is not a complete solution. I think you may have some issues here that you don't see happening, and the one is that where you stop this rock, this riprap, you're going to have, where you go back to natural channel, you're going to have erosion start there, because you have a riprap channel which is 12 feet wide, dumping into an unlined natural channel that's only 8 feet wide. So you're going to have this change in shape, you're going to have a change in material, you have a 2+% slope going into a flat area. I think you need to make some,
No, I don't think, we've tried to maintain the similar slope to what was in the original conditions.
okay.
We started, we maintain this constant slope from where we start to where we end and match into the existing. We're just putting in the same slope.
So will there be a velocity change between your riprap channel and the natural channel?
The velocity change, yeah, our channel's wider, so the velocity in our channel will be less, and it'll increase in the natural channel's narrower, it'll may slightly increase.
Okay, and could that be a cause of erosion, additional erosion? Erosion that doesn't occur today?
Erosion that doesn't occur today, I would disagree. I think there's a lot of erosion that occurs today that's going to continue to occur.
The bottom line is we don't want to see any additional erosion. And in my opinion, this plan doesn't give me that impression. I believe that what you're proposing here will cause erosion in that lower section and be a problem downstream. And I just ask you to look at some other ideas there, or make some suggestions that may alleviate that concern.
I'll discuss that with the water company, and we'll make some.
I mean, as a layman, I'm not an engineer, so I'm relying on what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. It seems to make sense to me. So yeah, I personally would like to see some kind of resolution to that, whether it's this terminal cutoff or something else,
Is the terminal
perhaps.
cutoff?
What if it's made the same width?
Well, I don't think they want to go down.
Instead of eight-
They don't
instead
want
of
to
8
continue it
feet.
down, right? Is it, you're saying you just want to stop it there?
Yes.
Well, we don't
So-
continue with the riprap and everything else all the way to the brook.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't feel the need for that. There is nothing there now.
Yeah.
You know, the current situation you have now, if you're concerned with erosion and fill going into the brook or anything like that, that's happening now. There is no, that's not, we're not going to create any more. I believe the riprap and the deeper channel or the wider channel will slow the actual flow of the water down heading towards the brook, other than what it is now. If any of you have ever seen it during a heavy rain, it's pretty torrential when it goes through there.
But if you're going
around the
from a
corner.
wider channel to something smaller, how is that going to stop the sediment and everything?
I'm not sure exactly why
Right.
it's going.
I'm
We're
not
going from a
following.
wider channel to the smaller end. I mean,
Well,
is that just where the end is, and it only happens to be
The
8
existing
feet?
channel varies in width all the way through, and we didn't want to make it smaller than the existing.
What if we made it the same size?
Well, it's all the same size as
Kind of existing, whatever width it is now.
whatever.
How much further is that from where you're where you're ending it? How much further is it? I don't have the map in front of me. To the brook. What?
This it's
brook is this area.
The brook is
40
here.
feet,
Got 50 feet anyway.
feet or so?
Yeah, it's about 50 feet.
Okay, so can you explain to me what a terminal cutoff would do?
Basically, a terminal cutoff would be at the end of your proposed channel, you dig 3 or 4 feet straight down into the bottom and into the sides and fill that with riprap, so that you create a cutoff wall. Basically, it's a cutoff wall into the sides of the bank and into the bottom of the channel. So if you did have erosion, head cutting back up, you come up against the wall. If it dropped down 2 feet, you can't undermine that 6-inch layer of rock, and they fall down, and then the next 6-inch layer of rock, so you don't unravel it.
Right.
Just a way of terminating a riprap channel.
If all it is
That's
to
all it
create-
is.
To create riprap, that's a little bit more at the end of where we're gonna put it now, then I don't have a
What
problem.
kind of just flares it out and underneath? Is that
It gets
how I'm
deeper.
following it?
It makes it deeper.
Okay.
Deeper on the sides, and it's a
Sides.
very, very basic way of terminating a riprap channel.
Okay.
We don't have any problem. The company wouldn't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Bill?
And again,
We'll
not
do
to
well
like
over.
give you guys a hard time, but it seems though every time we ask for something, there's still not something totally, completely done. Like a good question was brought up about if, looking at the earthwork and talking about the depth of things, and then at the same time mentioning the size of the largest riprap would be 30 inches and the smallest would be 15, but yet it starts at a 6-inch level. I know that you said that you made a mistake, but I'm worried about you come back and we're not going to like the terminal either.
I'm sorry.
I'm worried that, so we give these suggestions and we come back and then you might have a plan with the terminal at the end, but will they all ever really be addressed?
They have to be. They have to be.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm worried about. We keep on going back and the numbers don't ever really quite add up.
Well, when you say, this is only the second time we've been in, but
Well-
if
Well, you had the
I
list
can
the
get-
first time with what needed to be done, and the whole list wasn't on the sheets. And then this one,
Well,
we're talking about the size of
if I
them.
can get a written memo from James telling me exactly what you want, I'll get it all on.
Were these,
We did that.
you said there was a few things that were not completely,
Yeah, that
was
that
it?
was it.
Okay.
The channel cross-section wasn't accurate. Continuing the channel all the way to Buckhorn Brook, I think that's been addressed, that they're not going to do it. And that's nothing we can,
Did they get a price on that? Is that cost prohibitive?
It's about another $30,000.
130,000?
No, another
30.
30.
Oh, 30?
Yeah, this project is already a sizable number for the company that we hadn't anticipated having to undertake, or actually getting this large of a cost. And this additional riprap to the brook.
The town doesn't want
As
participate
we've
at
been in
all.
contact, and I've seen the emails and stuff, and I can understand the town's position too. It is private property and such. Our feeling is that the town, in some respect, has created this problem. Today, when you do subdivisions and everything else, you create drainage retention basins and such. The projects down there were allowed to grow over the years with no regard for where the stormwater was going to be running off to. So, that's understandable, and it happens.
to. Seems very cheap if they were to split it with you, though,
we're not here to talk about the
it's
cost of these
wetlands
projects.
only.
That's not what's relevant, or what happened in the past. But what's important is what's proposed in this application. Does it have a potential to cause additional erosion, additional problems for them or anyone else in the future? Is this the best solution? And this is something that we all can look at years down the road and say, yeah, that worked. And that's what I'm looking to do. I by no means are we questioning your validity for this. It's necessary.
No, it's
Just
perfect.
want it done right.
Yeah, we'd like to have it done right too. We
That's
don't
right.
want to come back here, I don't want somebody coming back here in 5 or 10 years having to deal with this thing for the rest of the addition. A terminal end is something certainly that we
doable for
consider,
you?
because it's definitely doable,
Yeah.
and not extending it.
You're all in agreement to that?
Correct,
You're in
yes. As far as the other parts go, to address your concerns with the plans, I think today is our cutoff date or something as far as
Yeah,
all
we-
this.
So
this
Yeah, so
application.
what
Yeah, there's no
we
more
need
meetings
to do,
between now
because
and
we're
then.
not, I don't believe we're able, and we don't have all the information in front of us, the correct details. We're going to need that terminal cutoff. We're going to need the size of the riprap, the details wrong on that. So you would have to ask for an extension
Okay.
in order to get that done.
That's all we gotta do is ask for an extension?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
then we'll ask for an extension.
But I have a few more questions before we get to that point. Do you plan on, I think we had asked this previously, but it was a while back, is there any stockpiles on the area while you're working, or are you just hauling it out as you?
We've shown a contract staging area.
Okay.
Which is on the property in front of the pump station. As far, it gets into, the water company is going to hire a contractor, and it's going to, some of it becomes means and methods with the contractor. We can only tell them, we generally can only tell them so much about how to do it, other than whatever conditions we may come out of this with will be applied to him, but they may stockpile material here, they may choose to take it off-site. Some of that's going to be up to the contractor. In theory, the material that comes out of here can go back into the existing to fill it, so that there are kind of some options. The riprap, I would imagine, would come in truckloads and be placed as it gets dumped.
Okay.
So
Is there any stockpile controls around that area? As far as, I mean, what are you stockpiling? Are we talking
most
sand
likely
and?
the riprap, possibly some of the soil that comes out of here.
Right, so you have sediment controls around that?
We can.
You're gonna use that to fill in the other one, though, right?
We're going to use it to fill the other one, but
Any?
we can add. Well, it's the brook's down here. I guess we would have to add sediment controls, probably kind of around the pump station.
Okay. Okay.
Like that.
Yep.
I understand that. That's valid.
Okay. So if that could be on the new detail too, we'd want that shown on the plans, right,
But
Jim?
we'd change
Yeah.
it. We would adjust it. Would it be, if we take, instead of putting, this line represents hay bale and silt fence.
Okay.
Would it be acceptable, instead of wrapping it around the primary work area, to bring this section of it around here? Or do you still want it in both places?
I think that the reality is that the way you have your silt fence now is probably be prohibited to getting much work done around there. So, I mean, let's be realistic. I think as during the workday, if you have material coming in and out, you're gonna use it. If you have anything left over at night, it should be ringed with silt fence. And of course, in our permit, we'll make some comments about working in the dry. I had asked for a dewatering plan, but I don't think we're going to get to that far. But
Well,
I think it'll be some basic requirements that we'd like to see work in the driest part of the year. Just to, again, the whole reason is to minimize
Plan,
problems.
I don't expect that, it's dry unless it rains, and if it rains, it's not likely they're going to be doing much work because of the nature of this work.
Right. But if your construction schedule is to excavate the entire channel and then bring in riprap, or is it section by sections, you're going to start at one end or the other, those are the kind of things I'm going to ask for in the general permit, and I think that would be acceptable.
Okay. All right. How long do you believe this will take to complete? Do you have a schedule?
I would say if the contractor comes in right away and hits it, it's probably 2 weeks worth, 2 weeks to a month.
Okay, and that's something you were going to try to begin this season? You're going to, okay.
The target would be to take bids from contractors and do the work in the dry season. So at this point, it would be, I would think we would look for July, August.
Okay. Okay.
You keep a close eye on them anyway, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Not their first project.
No, not at all.
Okay, I think that's all I have. Is there any other comments or questions?
No.
No? So what do we need to do to make?
I just,
Sure.
on the comment regarding addressing comments previously, I think honestly what happened is a little bit of a communication issue. We talked to James and tried to get his comments, and my comment, it works a lot easier if we have, because sometimes those things get lost in translation or lost in the notes. If we have something in writing that says, these are our comments that we want to address,
Yep.
then I can go down and check them off as we do them.
Right.
And it's less likely that we might miss something that, and so I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, it just, our intent is to try to address all the comments, and sometimes if the communication isn't perfect, we just miss something.
Okay. And
So I believe what normally happens is, yes, James will give you a letter with our comments from tonight, what we'd like to see done. And
just
then,
let me address that. Brian Messier is the engineer on your staff? Okay. And when the first set of plans were submitted, John Cabibbo, our assistant town engineer, and I reviewed the plans, and we had Brian come into the office, and we both sat down with Brian and spent about an hour or so going over the plans and the comments. And we went line by line through the comments, and Brian made notes,
I
and
understand
Brian had, and I left him with a red line plan
not saying
of
it's
all
your
of the
fault.
plans.
I'm just saying that.
So your question about this lack of communication, where's Brian? And Brian was the one who came in and we spoke to. I mean,
Right. Well, Brian is a young engineer working under my and Peter Gajewski's direction. and
Okay.
He was handling it, but as far as the meeting.
if you have any communication questions, maybe ask Brian.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's your fault.
Okay.
I'm just saying there was a little communication issue, and we missed a few comments, a couple of comments.
Okay.
And that wasn't the intent, is to try to address all the comments, and if we missed something. But in that initial meeting, I was disappointed that Brian didn't come back with your memo that you had produced. He came right back with handwritten notes.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's your
yeah,
fault.
no,
I'm just saying that that was what happened. And that may be why we missed a couple of things.
so would you like Jim to communicate with you or with Brian?
Either, it really doesn't matter. We work.
Just don't want to
in the
hold you up
same-
any longer,
Yeah.
so I'm just trying to think the quickest way to get this, you
No,
in front of us
um,
again, and,
We'll continue to communicate the way we have.
okay. Okay.
I'd like to be
I
CC'd on
guess
that.
I'm just
James,
trying to make the
if you
point
could.
that we're not intentionally leaving things up.
No, I get it.
No, and I don't want you to think that I think that. I just want to make sure that it seems like when we go forward with something, there's just a little bit missing each time. And I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming us. I just want to make sure that when I make a decision on this or place my vote on it, I want to make sure that we're all fully informed and have everything that, that we've asked for. Or if you can't do it,
Riprap detail was reviewed by someone other than me, and it was missed that it said 6 inches and the
Right.
riprap is bigger than that. It's just something that was missed.
We missed 2 meetings, otherwise we'd be all done.
All right, so
Other comments, questions?
formally ask for an extension at this point?
Yes, yes. Do you have to put that in writing to us
They
as
do,
well?
so if you would like to just
You just gotta write
jot that down on a piece of paper saying that
You
you'd
can
like
hand it to
to.
him right now.
You can hand it to him right now?
Yep.
Okay.
And then hopefully we will see you at the next meeting, which is 2 Tuesdays from now, whatever,
17th?
17th, April 17th. Okay. You'll be on the agenda. If there's a reason you need to
Okay.
extend it, just
The
let,
only,
please let his office know.
Do you want resubmittals a week before, the same as we did this time?
Yeah, we'll need
Sooner
them
the better, yeah.
Thursday,
By next
Wednesday or
Thursday?
Thursday
Yeah,
before the
the
meeting.
deadline is the Thursday
Yeah.
prior to the meeting.
If we don't have them, we can't vote on them. I
No, I
can't
understand.
look at something on my
I
desk.
I
Okay.
just want to know,
Just-
Yeah.
be clear on when the deadline is, or
Right.
what I have to do.
Yep. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
As soon as you get the extension, we'll have to make a motion to accept
To
it
accept
and
it,
vote
okay.
on it, so.
Can I turn this off now?
considered a board or agency?
He's got to accept it in first, so we're stuck. Yep. Okay. So we've just received the Hazardville Water Company hereby requests an extension of the current wetlands application in the Wetlands 550 to address the issues and concern raised by the agency at the meeting of April 3rd, 2012. Respectfully, Robert Sherwood, manager of Hazardville Water Company. Do I have a motion to accept their extension?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made by Roby, seconded by Jill. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will see you at the next meeting.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is new business. We have none this evening, nor do we have any applications to be received, correct? I didn't see any. Number 15, other business, IWWA, official map update discussion. Do we have anything to discuss?
Believe it or not, I have a map,
Wow, how exciting.
but I only have one.
That's okay.
And
Looks so
do you want to
official.
just you spread it out? We can look at it briefly, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about.
Wow, okay.
It's unofficial.
So just to initiate discussion, what you'll see on that map, you'll see a solid green, which is the wetlands as they are mapped on our current map, and you'll find a blue and green striped areas, and those would be the wetlands as delineated with the new the NRCS soil survey map that we talked about previously. Basically, it's the 2007 mapping. What you see stand out there is that areas where it's heavily developed, you'll see it's still green because it might have been not developed at one time, but a lot of areas, and I'll get up and I'll show you one. Areas like this, this is a very developed subdivision, previously mapped as wetland soils, but no longer considered a wetland. And you'll see the new mapping would go around it. And it isn't just that because it's developed that it's off the map. Areas like this, you'll see there's still wetlands between in the backyards of these areas. So it isn't like as soon as it was developed, it's just forgotten about.
Okay.
But it is a little more defined than.
Do you have a smaller?
I'm going to make smaller ones. This was just something I've been wanting to get out to.
That's
just to
great.
show you.
It's good.
And
That
this,
looks
of course, this green here is the Scantic River. That's all wetlands. That would be main wetlands. Why the Connecticut River is green, I'm not sure, but that's the little things. So we'll work on that. But just want to let you know.
Will this
I am
be
working on it.
posted somewhere on our website when this is complete? Do you
Yes,
know?
I think it becomes
We
a
can-
part of the website and
That'd be great. Good.
different scales and whatnot.
Great.
Thanks.
Nice. I'm impressed.
Very nice.
Yeah, we're making progress. This has been on our agenda for years, so I'm very excited. Okay, next item on the agenda, next regular meeting is Tuesday, April 17th, 2012 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. And just a reminder, tomorrow night, the board training, so I hope to see whoever
would
can
be
make
there.
it. Good, good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Did
Do I
have
have?
for this?
Oh, right, I'm sorry. Okay, so, yes, agency inspection assignments. Again, we're very short with agency members tonight. I was hoping to have a few more here, at least I know Brian and Joe Perello are pretty regular, and John. So before we start handing any of these out, let's hang on to them. Let's see how we do at our next meeting, and if we have more agency members, we can, I'm assuming Hazardville Water might be added to this shortly, so, but, I mean, it gives you an idea of what's on our agenda, what has started, what hasn't started, what's finished. So, yeah, let's all take a look at it, and then maybe we can discuss it when we have more agency members. Do you agree, James?
Yes.
Okay.
And what I did is, I gave it a name. It's called the Agency Inspection Assignments. October 11th, that was the last time it was saved to the planning hard drive. But then below is the date that I printed it. So we'll, in the future, as we change it, we'll find a way to make sure we know which one is the latest and greatest. So
Perfect.
we'll work on some of those details.
And just so you know, Donna, basically what we do is every time we approve something, we kind of assign one of us to kind of just go out there. It's an extra set of eyes and ears, just, and then when we have our commissioner correspondence, you can just kind of give an update if you've been out there, have any questions on it. Because sometimes, especially in the spring, a lot starts moving. So it's a lot for them to get out and look at. So that's what this is all about.
Okay.
But you're going to need your badge
Yes.
to go on site. So, so we'll get to that first. Okay.
If I may add one more comment, I probably should have brought this up at the agent comments. Out at Bellawood Drive, subdivision going on, there is a couple existing detention ponds that one detention pond is being expanded right now because of some of the grading issues around it. Wasn't allowing the water to get into it efficiently. There was some ponding in some of the properties. So the engineering staff and town staff got together and came up with a solution to solve those problems. So there's been some concerns that they're digging up a detention pond, a couple of calls I received, but I have gone out there, have seen it. It is in line with what was discussed. So that's going on right now.
Perfect.
So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Anything else? No? Go ahead.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Roby,
Second?
seconded by Donna. All in favor? Okay, we are adjourned. Can I give this back to you, right? So you can stamp it? Oh, yeah. I can give it